Guys, get your Neely energy in the chat. Cheer for the guy that you want to see. I want a quick prediction from you, Mr. True.
Uh, 6-5 for the code.
Oh boy, that would be a lovely series for sure. And we will jump into it. Make sure to always go fast forward. And then we will jump into this potentially 11 game series. We have the 1-0 lead here for TheViper because he was undefeated in the winner bracket. And we see TheCode already here in the red trunks. He is building the market very early on. On the other side, in the blue trunks, TheViper. The opening here is 4 stables, 7 archer ranges, and how many? 5 barracks. On the other side, TheViper with some stone walls here, with some villagers and problems. 3 stables only for him, 5 barracks, 7 archer ranges. And now the beautiful thing that you will see a lot from this market expert from TheCode is that he will lose some wood, lose some food, and the gold will jump by roughly 2,000. And then we see a lot of villagers trying to be killed by the early paladins. And now we see, indeed, oh, he sells heavily here. My co-caster is Deathmatch World Cup champ, third place finisher in Deathmatch World Cup 2 and 3. True, our expert today. How are you doing, my man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm looking forward to these games. I'm already trying to analyze these builders. What is Viper doing? That is an interesting build org. I'm really curious to see how this plays out. He's going only 3... Oh, okay, now he added a 4th stable. Sorry, I thought he was only going 3 stables for a minute there. 7 barracks and 8 archery range. That's a big deviation from what he has been playing with. And if I had to guess, that's probably a little bit of a nilly in the works there.
Not really. I told him to just go for the standard 466, maybe 468 if he wants to play it, but it should be standard. I don't like how early he's building this castle. He's not getting the rest of the production up. He could be behind the military. You already see 40 to 35.
At first I kind of like the idea of doing only 3 stables because look at that choke point right in front of him. He has a really nice choke point to defend against a market push. At the same time, you might want to play more aggressive if you were Viper. You have forward golds for the code. It's a really weird map. I kind of feel bad for Viper. It's really ugly for him to be trapped in there with all those wood lines. That's annoying. But at the same time, it is an easy to defend map from a market push. So we'll have to see how this plays out.
I'm quickly trying to fix the overlay here. Normally we see the higher seed hosting the game. That is screwing up a bit, but we will get all that rolling for us. And then...
Okay, what is Viper doing, man? You gotta tell me this was already planned. Like he sent an early Vil to go to the left corner and build a monastery? Was that on purpose?
What is the sneakery move?
Did he confuse Huns with Goths, maybe? I don't know what this is. He built a barracks even over there. This is a really strange strategy from Viper.
I know what happened there. He has problems with his waypoints from time to time. And he's the guy who often spams just his TC out key. And probably one of the stable waypoints actually, well, was one of the villagers. And therefore he went for this one. I've never seen that one from him before.
For a minute there, I thought, wow, props to him to really being inventive. But, yeah, maybe it was just a simple mistake like that. Strange. Very strange. I wonder how that will play, though. I mean, that might be really effective against the marketer, because the marketer needs the eco boom quickly, especially with wood, I think, based on how the code is building here, going with 7 archer range. I think he's going more... Oh, 8 archer range.
8 archer ranges. On the other side, 7 for the Viper at the moment. Now way more rams, though, as we can see here in the big field. The Viper, well, luckily he has the defensive gold, but that one is getting raided as well. Some paladins still being annoying in the back.
Those raids are so effective in the back there, man. Like, you got to get on gold really fast if you're the non-marketer. It's 8 minutes in the game. TheCode, I mean, has denied his TCs, or denied Viper's TCs from even being built on the golds yet. That is super effective.
And there are more paladins coming. Look at that. Viper is getting lured away with his halberdiers. That's a lot of army that is in the back as well. TheCode could go for that. Still massive CA fight here in the center. 47 CA against over 60, though. That's horrible for the Viper.
Come on, Viper. Viper needs to get out of there quickly. He can't afford to waste any units here, especially not even being on gold yet. And he looks like he might even lose his gold. Like, oh, no. Good quick walls by Viper. Very good.
He's in a blacksmith there as well.
Strange choice. A choice you'll never see a DMer make, by the way.
Yeah, well, what's a better 3x3 building that he needed there? You can't build a house, you can't build a gate.
That's a good point. I don't know. Yeah.
And it's cheap. Only 150.
Yeah, I mean, it is probably the smart one. It just DMers never think to build a blacksmith, obviously. But interesting move though from the Viper to go for that hill in the north. I actually like the moves Viper's making right now. He's keeping Code busy. He's not letting Code push his advantage very much here. It just Viper has to be really careful not to take any bad fights. Never waste too many of your units. Just being so delayed on gold. Boy, this is an interesting game so far, man.
Actually, both players with 22, 24 villagers on gold, so that's pretty even. Castle might actually survive here. All the CA shooting on the ram, some villagers coming forward. The Viper still sitting on the hill, but could get pushed away here. Needs to snipe that villager. He's trying to get the castle up. Would be pretty big for the Code. Ram still active. Oh.
Hussar from Viper. That's actually pretty smart.
Castle goes up.
Oh, Viper has to retreat here.
Oh, the Code is at the limit, though, on resources. Actually, they're both really low, but the Code is really at the limit. Code also losing a lot of his army here. He needs to pull back. This might have been a genius move from Viper. Got to give him credit for that.
So many CA on the hill there, and still raids in the back, as you mentioned earlier. The Code, luckily for him, sees it instantly. Not a lot of rally control. The Viper with 2 at the moment. The Code only now getting his first one in.
I think, you know, it's so odd that that weird villager that Viper threw there in the corner, that is turning out to be really effective, especially if he could use that to delay more of that eco from the Code, if he could use it to maybe even snag a relic because he built a monastery in the very corner. Yeah, it's such a weird strategy, and I think in a tournament match you never expect your opponent to do something so wild as that. It could really throw you off when something like that happens.
Yeah, but as I said, right, I did practice a lot with the Viper. Not a single time did I see that, so that was not trained, not pre-prepared. I think that was simply a wrong waypoint. Now a nice raid at the main gold here of the Code, and he's not seeing it.
Code's snagging that relic, but Viper's on it. I think Viper's going to find it. Yeah, okay. Not so good for the Code. Actually, Viper even taking a monk around that corner. I think he's going to end up taking that relic unless the Code sees it, maybe even converts his monk. I'm not sure. But
they don't have atonement hunts, I believe, right? I think you can't convert.
Oh, right. But I mean, at least... Yeah, okay, gotcha.
Some monks going down there. We still have 1 relic at the bottom. Seems like Viper will get 3. 1 for the Code, still 1 up for grabs. The Code did stabilize now, has some more villagers, but still 30 military behind. KD actually plus 50 here for the Code. Why is he so far behind the military?
You know, a plus 50 kill to death ratio for Code is actually not as big of an advantage as people might think, just because you took the market. And if you have the market, you have more of a gold-centric army, and therefore you naturally should have a higher kill to death ratio. Especially since Viper built a lot of Hussars early, it makes a lot of sense that Code should have a nice kill to death ratio, and I would actually expect it to be nicer than that, even. So, I'm not sure if... Code has actually an advantage with that kill to death ratio or not. Man, Code is really pumping out vills though. This is a little bit more vills than I usually see him make. Going 131 villagers already in the game. Very fast eco from him this game.
Where do you think we have to call it an overboom? 130 with Hans already at the limit.
130 is just... I mean, I think you could argue both ways, but I think 130 is too much. In my personal opinion, and I'm not really a market player, so I could be wrong about this, but I think usually about 100, right where Viper is sitting, is about perfect. And 130, you just can't have as much military. It's going to be harder for him to take good fights. And I kind of like how Code's trying to play this from here, though. He's trying to get comfortable. He's playing it slower than he usually does against Viper. You could tell he's been playing with a lot with Jidba.
Yeah, one of the campiest players in the DM universe, I would say.
Right. And that's kind of what he's doing. He's playing it sort of Jibba-like, and I like that from him. I think Code has traditionally gone a little bit too hard on Viper, seeing that Viper's a little bit slower than me at the start. I could take advantage of that. I could do a lot of damage. I could try to win the game quick, and that tends to be, he overcommits to that. Well, pretty much every DM overcommits to that when they play Viper.
Yeah.
And so I like that he's trying to play it a little bit slower here, and now he's trying to. This is a great push from Code. If he just had a couple more Rams, though, those Rams, man, what are they doing?
Yes.
Bouncing off of HCA.
He has 3 Rams, and something great as well, he is adding Tarkans here against the mainly CA army of the Viper, but 1 Ram sneaking in there, the trap will go down. Those castles alive way too long for my taste.
Oh man, the castle Viper doing a great job aiming the castles at the HCA of the Code, doing a ton of damage to Code's army. Code still has a good gold bank, but man, he's really low on food and wood. It's going to be really hard for him to replenish that army now.
Oh, 700 HP on that castle, still 1 Ram alive. Tarkans maybe actually could go for that one. Seems like that castle will be broken though. Military counter at the moment slightly better for the Viper, but I don't really see it on the map. The Code is retreating. Viper holds that hill. Both players heavily bleeding.
Whew. This could potentially be a really long game. It's starting to feel a little bit stalematy. What is the relic count actually?
It's 4-1 for the Viper behind this, and we have 1 extra gold spot for the Viper, 1 not taken at the top, so Viper with a better setup for the long range.
But don't forget, the Code did take market, which is worth realistically at least a whole gold patch, right? So, yeah, in terms of gold collection, him having an extra gold mine is not necessarily a huge loss for the Code. Man, I'm pulling for the. I mean, I'm gonna try my best today, guys, to not be biased. But the Code, he's been my training partner. He's the champion of the deathmatch community, and I do root for him. But I'm gonna do my best. I gotta give credit also to Viper, of course.
Yeah, well, we will try to achieve that. Obviously, a bit of a biased casting. Obviously, we like both of them and good friends with True. Both of us. Now the next engagement. Lots of Tarkans again at the front. The Viper, he has 7 castles to 2 and still more stone in the bank. How much stone did the Code sell? I think 1,500, right?
I think so, yeah. That's usually the amount a marketer sells. It's like a comfortable amount where it's not going to hurt you too much on how many castles you build. As a marketer, you don't want to oversell stone because then you need the stone to protect your quick eco boom that you always need as a marketer. So, and now they're taking a fight there, and Viper, as always, good micro from him, controlling his HCA, not allowing that ram to distract it too much. And Code having to back out of it. It was only a loss of 1 ram, so it's not a big deal for either player.
Gets another castle up there, but
I can't get over that Vil sneak on the left. I mean, that's like legendary, man. I mean, you don't see that. You never see that.
Yeah. But it's also like no one like Viper spams randomly the select TC hotkey. And he's just super crazy in that.
I see. Oh man, what a nice drag by Viper on the left though. Getting all those Tarkans to commit to chasing that. Which could end up being bad for him though if he ends up dragging them straight into that gold patch that he just got on top of.
Yeah, that will be
I would have liked to see something else that he has a castle behind it, I guess.
Wanted to build that one on the hill. 5 villagers going down there. That's 2 massive armies. Full gold army though for the Code and lots of Tarkans. I think army value might be slightly better for our player from Turkey.
Man, Viper is really at the limit on resources. Only 88 villagers. That's really low.
83.
But he has a great army and a hill, so at that point, it's not really a bad thing.
First trap went down. The Code needs to make sure that he doesn't overcommit here. I think he can't attack before he gets 3 traps himself, but he still decides to take this one. Very questionable to me.
I like this fight. I do. I like this fight. I think he's gonna knock out all those rams. He's decommitting. I like the fight though. If I were Code, I probably would have kept fighting that. But you would have knocked out the rams. A lot of the staying power of Viper was invested in that. And then back out after that point, kind of thing. It's probably what I would have tried to do there. The code really needs to get on that north gold, though. I mean, it's sort of at least trying to deny it at this point. Viper not really doing anything to control it directly. He has councils around it, but nothing that could shoot onto it. And now they're taking another fight there in the middle. Those rams are going to knock that castle down quickly.
2 traps behind. There's lots of CA still for the Viper here. We see 90 military against 66 at the moment, 30 elite. The Viper is pushing in, and I don't see a lot of defense coming here for the code. Oh, that's going to be tough.
Man, this is a brutal fight here, but Viper already doesn't have any rams left. The rams for code are going to go down too. He has 1 left. HCA numbers definitely in Viper's favor. I think this is looking really bad for code.
Oh man, Hasa's behind this one as well at the moment. The code, well, mainly trying to hold on with the CCA, tries to get more castles up here for the defense, but not a lot of control. The fight for the gold at the top shouldn't really go in his favor with 2 against 1 castles either. Ooh, now the army value, obviously not great for the code, mixed in a lot of skirms and halberdiers.
I mean, if you had to mix in trash here, what would you prefer? The Hussars or the Skirms How combination from the code? What do you think is better?
If I have that amount of CA, I think I go halberdier exclusively.
Yeah, I think I would too. Maybe even some Hussars is good, but... Alright, code resigning. Okay, so game 1 already down.
Yeah, well, he was broken there, and that's a matchup where he should normally shine. Hans von Arabia, a specialty of the DMers. If we go to game 11, we will see it again, but that's a long, long path ahead of us.
I would have loved to see the code maybe take a lesser mark at this game. I don't think he might have struggled to analyze the map properly in that short time span. You got to make a decision quickly. And the thing is, Viper, he just had such amazing choke points at his base. It's like, okay, based on those choke points, I'm not going to be able to push him really well with a market push. I should try not to sell too much so that I could keep a good food wood bank. And in the end, I think that cost him a lot. What do you think?
It was tough for me to analyze. I did miss the first 5 minutes because I tried to fix the overlay, so I will trust your analysis there. And now taking a look at the numbers, KD was actually pretty even in the end. Both players with the massive largest army there, 177 against 174. And economy, the code with slightly more gold due to the massive market, but then he needs to have more food and wood collected as well. Something where he didn't shine that much. Especially wood, he felt a bit late. 130 villager over boom here by the code, and 4 relics against the Viper against only 1. Solid game number 1, the Viper with a 2-0 lead.